So I couldn't find a better position for this camera, so you guys will bear with me. Let us talk about gangstalking. Chosen ones are very highly likely to be gangstalked. And it's also very important to understand that gangstalking is spiritual. It is spiritual. It is happening on a spiritual plane, on a spiritual. So what you can only see with your eyes is the people following you, the phones glitching, and those spam emails coming in, and the I don't know. There's a lot of ways people do those things. People stealing your mails. That is a different type of gangstalking, which can make sense on the physical when you see it on the physical with your eyes, but spiritually, it's happening spiritually. So gangstalking is spiritual. Now, if you're a chosen one, you have been gangstalked your entire life. Your whole life, the entire life, you have been gangstalked. You have been gangstalked because you are marked by the Most High. You are marked by the Most High, and you here on a dimension, or I could say on this 3D plane, which is run by evil, full of evil, you know, very low vibrational energy. And your existence becomes some kind of uncomfortable for these entities. There's not much they can do when you exist. So basically what happens is that I've done a video which I called, I think I called that video, your handlers. You've always had handlers, people that were assigned to monitor you, stalk you, monitor you, move around with you. So sometimes if, for example, you was at home, you might have had your parent telling you certain things or behaving a certain way. Your family was moving a certain way, family members, maybe when you went to school, you'd realize that there was a certain behavior towards you by your teachers, by your classmates, maybe some of your besties. You have been gangstalked your entire life. But what happens is that when you are awakened, that is when the gangstalking starts making some sense. Because now you can reflect and look back, and you will see that this whole thing has been happening for a long time. You wasn't aware back in the days. Now you start to see it play out in front of you. So it has been happening for a very, very long time, my chosen ones. Now, the fact that it has already been happening all throughout your life since you was a kid, you wake up and you start to recognize the patterns. So when you wake up, you start to recognize the patterns. You start to see, it starts making some sense. You start to see the patterns. You start to see, to recognize the patterns. At the beginning is going to just be simple patterns, somebody following you around, a certain car parked in front of your house. You hear like some glitches in your phone when you're speaking on the phone. You hear like some people monitoring your phone. So you may start recognizing these patterns. Actually, these things have been happening for a very long time, but you reach a phase where you are now making sense of everything. You're understanding them on a very deep level. You now understand what it is and what exactly is happening. So gangstalking is a phase of your awakening. And if you are awakened enough, or I could say evolved enough, instead of looking at it as a problem, yes, you can address it. If you feel threatened, you can always, talk with the law enforcement or whatever, even if you may not really get a lot of help, because sometimes even the people that are gangstalking you, they're the people that have been assigned to protect you. So they are going to be the people that are gangstalking you. So whereby now you're going to lose a lot of trust in all these institutions that you are believing are supposed to trust or to protect you, they are the ones that are gang stalking you, responsible for this whole thing, or even encouraging it in the first place. So what you now do as a chosen one, because you need to understand something, chosen ones. Those witches and those demons that are gang stalking you, they understand who you are. If you was a nobody, nobody will be following you around, trying to set you up for destruction, trying to do this. Nobody will be bothered with you if you're a nobody. They're only bothered with you because they know who you are. And that is exactly what they're afraid of. So all you need to understand is it is not something that you can control, but the biggest thing you can do is being aware of it and learning how to move differently. So when you reach that phase, normally that phase will start the gang stalking phase. I'm talking about being awareness, the awareness of gang stalking. That phase, it normally happens a little bit, I could say, in a few weeks or months post awakening. It could be maybe between 3 to 6, maybe even sometimes 2 or 3 months, where you're going to start recognizing that you're being gang stalked. So for me, I remember back in those years when I started recognizing this, it was a certain lady that I used to see appearing out of the blue. You know, I'm recording videos. I look around, there's nobody. I press the record button. This woman just pops out of nowhere. So I started recognizing these patterns. I saw the patterns. I recognized the patterns. I switched up the game a little bit. It was the same lady, but eventually they started to send different people, because this is the matrix that is sending you these things, these bots, like I told you in my recent video. So when you're an awakened person, like I've said, you will recognize those bots when they're coming in. But you need to understand something, chosen ones. The gang stalking, if you want to look at it on a different, from a different lane, you need to understand that that gang stalking is actually pushing you further into your evolution. So in most of the cases, you are going to realize you're becoming more discerning of everything. You're becoming more intuitive because you recognize them. So you up your game when it comes to your intuition. You no longer doubt your intuition. You build your discernment. You focus on your journey. You focus on your path. You build strategy. So basically what is really happening, and what those demons don't even recognize, is that actually they are helping you to evolve. Now, we have already talked about the intention of this gang stalking, what exactly is happening. The intention basically is to drag you further into fear, paralysis, whereby you are going to be like everything is irritating you, you are scared, you are like, oh, this one is following me, that one is talking, and this and that. But the whole thing is a matrix. It's all a simulation, it's an illusion. So basically, when you start to understand and see it for what it is, you will know how to maneuver. But a lot of times, the people that are starting to wake up, the awakening empaths, a lot of chosen ones who are waking up now, it becomes very uncomfortable and terrifying for them. You know, I've seen sometimes online people that, oh, you know, this gang stalking this and gang stalking that, and many people, they are very deep into that energy, because you see, that energy of fear is exactly what makes them have the power over you, because they can control you through the element of fear. But when you have overcome that stage whereby you're no longer fearful of those things and you understand what is going on, you can no longer embody that energy, because you understand this very low vibrational energy, because that's where they want you to be. So basically what you do, you step up the game a little bit, you use that to your advantage, and you help it, let me say, you use it as fuel to further evolve and grow, get out of your comfort zone, okay? Because you already understand the place that you are. You have a very nosy neighbor next door. You have a very, it could be a boss, for example. You work with this guy at work, is your boss or something like that. And they're very nosy and stuff like that. So you are now starting to become aware of everybody around you. That's where I talk about switching up the game, because you can no longer be around certain people. Okay, a lot of you guys chosen ones, you like being everywhere, all over the place. You're awakened and you're still going to parties. You cannot miss a party. Yeah, there's free food, so you're going to be there. You're going to be there eating. There are free cakes. There are free drinks. You're in and out of parties. You're in and out of everywhere. You're all over the place. You know, concerts. I don't even know what you're still doing in concerts. You know, do you know how is the energy in those kind of places? Those kind of places whereby you have to sit with different types of people with different types of energy, and you're a very highly sensitive person, and you really feel that you're going to leave that concert feeling good. So you move up the game a little bit, okay? Uncomfortable place, find a way to move. You know, nosy neighbors, switch up the game, move, okay? Use discernment, use intuition, build. That thing is supposed to help you evolve further, is what actually these demons do not understand. The more they keep on stalking you, is the more they make it very obvious that there is something about you that they are scared of. So now that makes you understand your power, because those people do not understand, do not gang stalk anybody without influence. They understand that you have got a lot of spiritual influence. That is why they are on your back, sending you every type of toxic people, sending you a lot of these bots, sending you these meaningless counterfeit relationships. You know, using the landlord against you, using your boss against you. I've seen all those things. You know, it's just because that this channel is not primarily talking about gang stalking. I would be taking you guys through these whole things, but I have seen all these things. I have been sacked from job, no explanation. I didn't have to sit down with anybody. They asked me what happened here, what happened there. They just told me to leave. I've been sent out of homes. Get out, you know, because their intention was for me to go on struggling so that I could be homeless. That was their intention. Get frustrated, you know. They are afraid of your light. That's the reason why they gang stalk you, because you are very powerful and they are very afraid and scared of your light. The world is run by evil people. You need to understand chosen ones. Very, very evil parasitic energy vampires. So when you're born with a light, that makes you, first of all, a target. And then eventually it makes you a little bit vulnerable, you know. So the entire game, or I could say project, was to keep you from shining. Anything they could do to frustrate you, maybe they could frustrate your income, they could frustrate your relationships, they could frustrate you at work, they could frustrate you in the places where you stay. That was the entire intention, to keep you in that loop, in that bubble of fear. Because the more you fear, you're scared of everything, the more likely it is that you're not going to be able to do the things, or even sometimes find your purpose in life and do the things that you was meant to do. So that's where they want you to be, you know. So it's a phase of awakening. When you start to understand this gang stalking, you will understand that there is something about you that they're after. And the whole idea and intention of gang stalking is by doing things that will make you give up. There is people that have been analyzing themselves, and they say, oh, this one committed suicide, and that's gang stalking they're talking about. You know, the media will not tell you these things because they don't know. Some of them don't know. The ones who know, they're not on they're not on the media to tell you the things, TVs and radio. They're not. But the ones who don't know, they're the ones who call it suicide. But when you start to understand the reason of those suicide cases or whatever, you are understanding there is gang stalking behind that. There is demons that have been gang stalking those people. And the intention was to make them check out on their own. You know, because they understand the laws of karma. They know what is going to hit them should they lay hand on you. So what they do, they create scenarios and situations whereby you want to do it yourself. So it's deep. And for the ones who have been gang stalked, they know the price they have had to pay for these old projects. So if you're looking around and you remember that moment whereby you called the law enforcement, there was something going on in your neighborhood and they never helped you, there was part of the game. They was part of the whole plan. So that's why they never showed up. You know, I remember having a situation and I called these people and they showed up after 3 days. You know, so you don't kind of basically what happens when you're chosen. Those things happen because we are living in a very, very demonic world. A lot of the people you see moving up and down, they are demons. You know, they are not conscious people. They are demons. They are bots. They are NPCs. So when you reach that phase where you can recognize, because I've already told you that this thing happens, it has been happening for a very long time, but when you reach a stage where you can recognize it, you use it to your advantage to help you propel you further into your growth. You know, you have to learn how to transmute energy. You have to learn um, how to turn a negative situation into a positive. When they're throwing lines, make lemonade. Okay? When they're throwing stones, build a house. That's exactly what happens. Many of you guys don't even understand that I've been building a lot of these videos amidst gang stalking. You may even sometimes see me looking around because I see them moving up and down. They're like zombies. They're all over the place. Uninvited guests. You're doing your own thing, minding your own business. They're sticking around like zombies. Okay? I no longer let it bother me because I know who they are. But it doesn't mean that I'm too stupid not to protect myself. I know when I need to act. I know when I need to not act. I know when I need to watch and observe. I know when I need to do what kind of reaction. That is the level of growth because I've been doing this thing for a very long time and I've been seeing them everywhere. But I don't let that uh, discourage me from doing what it is because I know what they want. First of all, you see, when you know what they want and why they are doing it, it then pushes you further into your journey because now you understand the reason as to why they want you to give up. Okay, it's spiritual. Understand spiritual warfare, ladies and gentlemen. It's a spiritual world. We are dealing with a lot of entities on this planet. If you're chosen, you have already been marked, and that's why this gang stalking is happening. Okay. So let us know what you think about the video, guys. You know, I do love and appreciate your support. Please book a session. You may donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I'll see you guys in my next one. Denzo Mo signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.